Hey everyone! Welcome back to Story Hive. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss an update. Let's jump into today's story. I overheard my girlfriend's call with a fair partner. She canceled the proposal and blocked me on every platform. I'm a 38-year-old male who just found out my girlfriend, 36, of 5 years cheated on me, and I found out in the worst way. Just some background info. I've never been married, nor do I have any kids. It's not that I don't want either, life just hasn't had those plans for me yet, I guess. Anyway, to the story. Friday after work, I left to go on a weekend trip. Nothing too crazy, fishing, drinking, games, just good old fun. We usually do these trips every 3 months to give ourselves and our significant others a break. I usually stay through the entire weekend and just leave from there to go to work on Monday morning. However, this weekend, I left my laptop in the office room and forgot to grab it, so around 4:00 p.m., I started to head home, figuring I'd be there by 6:00. Let's call her Rachel. I knew she wouldn't have eaten by then, so I called in an order at her favorite Italian place, picked it up, and headed home. I walked in and everything seemed normal. I could hear Rachel laughing in the kitchen, so I figured I'd walk in and surprise her. As I got closer, I started to overhear the conversation she was having on the phone, and in an instant my life was shattered. I assumed she was talking to her sister, or maybe one of her friends, but the conversation basically went like this: "Last night was just amazing. He was such a considerate lover. I'm telling you, I've never had anything like it. We met on Tinder, and he took me out last night. By the time we made it through the door, we barely made it to the sofa. God." After that line, I just dropped the food on the floor. Rachel heard it and turned around. By that time, tears were welling up in my eyes. She hung up the phone and tried to get to me, but I just pushed her off. Rachel has been hysterically texting and calling for the past 4 days, and I haven't answered once. I'm staying at a motel a couple of towns over, so I doubt she will be able to find me. My buddies and mom have called, as Rachel has frantically been trying to locate me, but I've assured everyone I'm okay and there's nothing to worry about. My life has been ruined by a stupid phone call. I really thought this was the girl I was going to spend the rest of my life with. I'm an only child, and my mom keeps reminding me she wants grandkids. I had planned on proposing this year on the 4th of July, as it would be our 6th-year anniversary. I've already got the ring, and my buddy and his wife knew about the plan, as they are the ones who set us up and hosted the fourth cookouts. Any advice from you would be appreciated. This is the first time I've dealt with infidelity in any relationship. I'm so broken at this point. Do I contact Rachel? Should I hear her out? After that phone call, the thought of her just makes me sick to my stomach. Thank you in advance for anyone who reaches out for advice. The audience definitely has some thoughts. First up, time to move on. Someone else adds, "She showed you who she is. Be glad you learned now and not after being married for many years." Another says, "You've already heard everything from her you need. Don't look back. Best case scenario, arrange for your friends to collect your things and never speak to her again. The only closure to be had is from her side. Never give her a chance to apologize. Don't talk to her friends, and if your mutuals try to give you a message from her, ghost them too. Make a post on social media explaining what happened. Tag her. One more opinion, yes, do this. Since you're a nice guy who probably can't imagine doing this to her, you will want to try and understand and fix things. You'll try to be a pick-me. Make it loud in public so you can't go back. You dodged a bullet, trust me. I found out this past year that half of my life is a lie. After 27 years together with 3 kids, my wayward wife cheated on me multiple times over those years. I had an opportunity to leave her the first year we ever dated when I found out she probably cheated on me, but I tried to understand and fix things. Don't be me. Who needs a sixth anniversary when you can celebrate the newfound freedom of not having to share your sofa with someone who has a penchant for Tinder escapades? As for closure, just remember closure is overrated. It's like that elusive last slice of pizza. At a party you can search for it all night, but chances are it's already been devoured by someone else, leaving you with nothing but greasy regrets. So take the advice from your fellow internet therapists and make like Houdini disappear from her life faster than a magician's assistant in a box trick. And if you really want to put a cherry on top of this mess, go ahead and make that social media post. Tag her at some confetti images and let the world know that you're officially back on the market for someone who values fidelity over sofa shenanigans. Update. Hello everyone. First off, I would like to thank everyone for their kind words. I've had a very stressful week, and while I did not feel up to replying to anyone's posts, I want you all to know that I read them, and your words helped me through this week. This has been a devastating event for me, and each and every one of you that commented or reached out through chat brightened my day just a tiny bit. With that said, here's the most recent update. Last Friday night, after my buddies got to the hotel, I explained what I had heard on the phone call. All three of them were stunned, to say the least. They asked if I had seen any signs of this, and to be honest, I really hadn't. I said I didn't know what I was going to do. I informed one buddy that the proposal was off, and given the circumstances, he completely understood. One thing I had my buddies do when they left their houses was turn off tracking in case their significant others were checking and getting back to Rachel. I know Rachel isn't close with one of the wives, but at this point, I didn't want to take any chances. That night we spent the night at the hotel bar, and I tailspin pretty hard shot after shot after shot. It wasn't pretty. My buddies were getting calls all night from their significant others asking where they were, and to their credit, they stood their ground and backed me up, just saying that we were safe and not to worry. One asked to speak to me after assuming that we were where we were, but I didn't want to talk to her. She kept saying Rachel was worried and just wanted to come home. I just told my buddy to deal with it, and I'd fill them in another time. I spent most of the night hitting on the bartender, which I'm not proud of, and a couple of girls who were traveling for work. The next day, I thanked them all for spending time with me, and they took off back home. This week, I had one of my buddies scope out the house we were renting as it was on his way to work, and he gets to work after Rachel, and I would have already left for the day. Rachel had taken Monday and Tuesday off but went back to work on Wednesday. As soon as he informed me of this, I went to the house and started packing as much stuff as I could. The house was a mess, dishes in the sink, clothes lying everywhere, trash full of takeout food. It took me about 3.5 hours to get all my stuff out before I left. I cleaned up for Rachel as a final gesture. That afternoon and evening, I got flooded by Rachel with calls and texts after she realized that I had come home and gotten all of my things. For now, I'm staying at my mom's house until I can find a place of my own this fall. I spoke with the landlord, and without Rachel's signature, he won't remove me from the lease, meaning I have to cover my half of it until October. My mom has said I can stay with her until then, at which point I will try to find a new place. I know a 38-year-old moving back in with his mother, how amazing life has treated me. I finally contacted Rachel on Thursday and told her we could meet up at a local bar and grill downtown Friday evening. I told her one of my buddies would be attending to make sure everything was on the up and up. She complained for a few minutes, saying she wanted me to come home and talk with her so we could move past this, but I told her if she wanted to see me, this is how it was going to be. Eventually, she agreed. So Friday night, Rachel showed up after my buddy, and I had been there for about an hour. I had already eaten and took a couple of shots of whiskey to calm me. We sat down, and she wanted to make small talk, asking about me and blah, blah, blah. I cut that garbage off and told her I had a list of questions. Immediately her eyes welled up. I asked her how long this had been going on, but I knew better. I pressed her, demanding the truth, and she eventually cracked, confessing it was more than just a one-time slip. I couldn't believe the audacity of her excuses, claiming she thought I was cheating because I was away. It was infuriating. After showing her the ring I had bought for the proposal, I told her I would always love her, but we were done. The tears flowed, but my resolve didn't waver. I left feeling a mix of anger and relief, ready to move on, but the sting of betrayal lingered. I left feeling a mix of anger and relief, ready to move on, but the sting of betrayal lingered. Back at my place, I sat in silence, reflecting on everything that had happened. Her desperate texts and calls started flooding in, but I ignored them, knowing I needed space to process. The next few days were a blur of emotions. I tried to focus on work and hanging out with my friends, but the weight of it all hung over me like a dark cloud. My buddies rallied around me, reminding me that I deserved better and encouraging me to take this time for myself. I started thinking about the future, about what I wanted next, and slowly felt a sense of hope creeping in. Each day got a little easier, and I made a vow to prioritize my healing. I decided to embrace my newfound freedom and explore new possibilities. I decided to embrace my newfound freedom and explore new possibilities. I started going to the gym more, finding solace in the routine and the endorphins that came with each workout. It felt good to channel my energy into something productive. I even picked up some old hobbies, painting and hiking, things I'd neglected over the years. One weekend, I joined my friends for a hiking trip. Being out in nature helped clear my mind. As we reached the summit, I felt a sense of accomplishment and a glimmer of hope. I realized that I had the chance to rediscover who I was outside of my relationship with Rachel. Despite the occasional pang of sadness, when I thought about what could have been, I focused on building a new life for myself. I started meeting new people and even went on a few casual dates. Nothing too serious yet, but it felt good to connect with others again. Rachel's attempts to reach out dwindled over time, and I made sure to keep my distance. I knew I needed to fully cut ties to heal. One night, I had a moment of clarity. I was no longer defined by her choices or our past. I was reclaiming my narrative. As summer rolled in, I felt more like myself. I was excited about the future and ready to embrace whatever came next. I was excited about the future and ready to embrace whatever came next. One evening, as I was enjoying a barbecue with friends, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. The laughter, the warmth, and the camaraderie reminded me that life could be joyful again. As July approached, I found myself reflecting on what would have been our sixth anniversary. I had initially planned to propose during our 4th of July cookout. Instead of dwelling on what I lost, I decided to use that day as a celebration of my independence. I planned a little gathering with my friends, just burgers, beers, and fireworks. On the day itself, the atmosphere was lighthearted and full of energy. As we watched the fireworks burst overhead, I felt a renewed sense of hope. I was surrounded by people who genuinely cared for me, and for the first time in a while, I felt truly happy. That night, while everyone was wrapped up in conversation, "You've come a long way, man," he said. "It's good to see you smiling again." His words resonated deeply with me. I realized I had faced one of the toughest challenges of my life and emerged stronger. Over the following weeks, I continued to focus on self-improvement mentally and physically. I started journaling, jotting down my thoughts and feelings. It became a cathartic way to process everything, and I found myself reflecting on what I truly wanted in life. I also began to notice a shift within myself. I was no longer bitter about my past. Instead, I viewed it as a valuable lesson. I was learning to set boundaries and prioritize my happiness. And while the memory of Rachel would always linger, I knew I had the power to shape my own future. As summer faded into fall, I felt ready to embrace new relationships. taking my time and being open to possibilities. I wanted to build something real with someone who valued trust and loyalty. With each passing day, I felt lighter, like I was shedding the weight of the past. I looked forward to what lay ahead, knowing that whatever challenges came my way, I had the strength to face them head on. Life was starting to feel exciting again, and for the first time in a long time, I was genuinely hopeful. Thanks for tuning in to today's Reddit story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss out on more amazing stories. See you next time.